Alright. It's getting kind of hot. Maybe I should take my jacket off. Getting hot in here.
When you gonna post these videos?
Hopefully this... One of them this week, one of them the week after. I am getting so hot.
Now I'm gonna take my clothes off. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes.
Getting so hot. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Action. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dela Criss, and this is
Criss.
my husband, Criss. And today I'm really excited about this video because I watched a video that's called Why You Need a Traditional Marriage versus a Modern Marriage to Build Generational Wealth. And the video was like 50 minutes long. It's by Oneal. So if you want to go look it up, I'll also link it below. It was like 50 minutes. Sorry, y'all. We're doing the best we can with this sunlight changing. But it's 50 minutes long. It was so good to the point where I was folding the girls' clothes and I told Maya, you got to come here and watch this video. And you know, y'all ever watch a video where you're like talking back to the video the whole time? That's what we were doing. And so I was like, we got to make a response video to this. It was just so good. And the couple that he interviewed, oh, I wish I wrote their name down, but I think they're over a ministry called Marriage by Design. Is that what it's called? I'll find their information because it was really just deep and profound, and it aligns with a lot of the things, our core beliefs, and why we do what we do. And I realize we never have talked about that on this channel, like explicit, like just kind of laid it out for you guys. So the idea is traditional versus modern. So traditional means pretty much one spouse, well, the male. Okay, I don't know if they specify. The male works outside the home while the woman specializes on working inside of the home, versus a modern where mom will have a job and also manage the children, or they'll kind of, it's more 50-50.
Yeah.
So do you feel like we have a traditional marriage or modern marriage?
A mix.
Okay.
But leaning towards traditional more. So if you have to put it on a scale, no, this is the way I like to think of it. A traditional, completely traditional was 1. Completely modern was 5. Would be like a 2.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair because, and that's because Meyer is primarily the breadwinner. I came home maybe like 3 years ago, maybe officially came home, and then I work right now. I work part-time outside the house, and then I do like small stuff like YouTube and stuff like that on the side. But my main focus is home. And how was that when we first decided? So just so you know, the couple that they were interviewing, they were saying how they feel that traditional is better. Like that, they just put it out there, and that's really radical to say now during the.
And they black. What?
And
well,
it is more uncommon in the black community.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't just saying like black.
Hey, I'm. Yes, and so when I left my job, and to give you guys context, I don't know if this is real. I think it is relevant. Just the field that I was in, I was on track to be the higher earner in the family. Yeah. And just because, you know, my husband's in education, he's also a coach, but I was on track to be the higher earner. But we always knew that. Even in college, we had those conversations.
Just the pace of
just how it is.
Your pay would have scaled faster.
A lot
faster than mine.
But anyways, so I used to joke with him in college. I'd be like, "Will you?" Remember, I used to ask you if you'll be a stay-at-home dad.
I said no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
And that was just a joke then, but we had no idea that we would actually become a family that would have one primary parent at home, and we're grateful for that. Now, I want to say the reason why this video is near and dear to my heart, because when we made that decision, we were in such a desperate place. And my mom stayed at home with me, but I knew that there was great hopes in me going to college and finishing college, and so many people were behind me. And I remember this to this day, walking around the neighborhood. I was pregnant with one of our kids, walking around my mom's neighborhood, and one of my friend's parents was like, "Oh, you know, what are you doing?" And I told them what I was doing, and they were like, "Oh, I always expected I expected big things out of you. And that crushed my pride, like, to the core. And even when I met Meyer, I told him...
What, the rich thing?
Yeah, I was like, I'm here to be rich. Like, we were at university. I was like, I'm here. He was like, I just want
want to get married, have kids.
Have family.
Literally, that was one of my major goals in life.
And I was like,
go
we're
to college,
not aligned.
right to college, get married, have kids.
And Meyer won. We're not rich yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
We will be though. But it's funny how both of our visions kind of mesh together, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty in it. But anyway, so we moved more towards the traditional because our marriage was in shambles, because it is impossible for both people to work over 40 hours a week, raise children, and still have a loving marriage. I don't care what anybody tells you. I remember venting to someone about it. They were like, well, we all did it. And when someone tells you that, they're not telling you we all did it, almost dang near lost our husband or lost our health.
Yeah, I lost our health.
Or our kids, are in a penitentiary, or, which that, just because your kids are in a penitentiary doesn't mean you're a bad parent. But, why is it not focusing? Okay. Did it darken?
Yeah.
Guys, we're struggling. Okay. But back to the video. I wanted to address some of the things that they brought up. Like, one of the things they talked about, and I want to say this too. I understand that we do not live, I think it's too, like, we simplify it too much if we say traditional versus modern. Because we don't live in a traditional world. Like, it's not traditional for ground beef, a little small roll of ground beef costs $5. And that's the world that we're living in right now.
Life is expensive.
Life is so expensive. So I want to be sensitive to that. I really do. But also, I feel like, I don't know if this is Holy Spirit or me, but I feel like it's one of the tactics the enemy is using to destroy our families.
Yeah.
Like, pushing us into this, like, belief system that in order to survive and make it, both parents have to be out here trying to get it.
It's the I ain't gonna say easier. In some ways, it's an easier, more comfortable option.
Comfort,
so
for sure.
If only one person works, comfort. Y'all gonna have to live in a less shiny type of lifestyle. So that means you might have to drive an older vehicle, live in an older home,
build your own home.
So your lifestyle it's not gonna be as glamorous.
It's not as traditional. Like, I mean, it's not what people, the norm. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's not the norm. So for us both being, and it's hard, y'all. We're not gonna lie to y'all. Us both being college graduates. I mean, it's incredibly humbling to roll up in our used cars when our friends both are, they don't have kids, or they're both working still, you know what I mean? And they can afford more. So that is humbling. Like, it really is. But, so yes, we understand that, and I understand there's seasons. Like, even in the video they talked about, there was a season where she had to work, he had to be home. And so what I want y'all to get out of this video is don't leave thinking like, I guess I gotta quit my job, or they think only if the woman at home, she should be barefoot, and pregnant. That's not, we're not old school and simple. What I want you to think is, think outside of the box, because society wants you to think inside of the box. Because even when they both had to work, he stayed at home with the kid and worked on, from home. And they knew that was temporary. That wasn't long term. But it's what they did in the moment to make it work. And so for moms, I want you thinking not necessarily home or work, but flexible work. Because that's what's been able to give us balance, is that, yes, I need to earn income if we're going to do some of the things that we do in life, but I don't have to think black and white. Because my biggest thing was, I don't want to give my best hours to the office place and come home and give my scraps.
Company A. Yeah.
One thing they said, which I'm getting off script, whatever, that really hit me. He was like, women. He was like, man, you send your. That was like, you send your wife to work. She getting all cute, putting on perfume to go work for another man.
Yeah.
And she's at her best. He's at her best. He's at his best.
Yeah.
And she's seeing him in boss mode, you know what I mean? Like, making all these decisions. Like, she's not seeing his drawers on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you see, and that's where a lot of, like, infidelity starts, right? The right word? Sometimes I make it worse.
Yes. You said it right.
Okay. that's where it starts, because you're seeing them at their best, and then you come home, you taking the wig off, you know, he taking the clothes off, you know what I mean? You walking around like it's just real life, so you can get those confused very easily. Yeah. So I don't want it to be like super long, but I did want to like address some of the quotes that they talked about. One of the biggest fears I hear from women, especially black women, like they're like, well, I gotta have my own because I can't be asking him for money every time I want to do something. And there's this like core fear that we have of just being like someone keeping something from us. And I want to say, if that's your fear, like, you guys don't have a money problem, y'all have an alignment problem and a trust problem.
Yeah, it's the dependency thing.
Yeah. And so one quote he said that I loved, he said, "My wife isn't asking for permission, she's asking for availability." And that's the same thing that we do. It's like, Maya might call me, "Oh, can I grab this real quick?" And that's where it's like the traditional versus modern. I do the budget in our house. Numbers excite me, and schedules excite me, and they don't excite him. So it's not a matter of me being the head of our finances. I don't make big financial decisions without Meyer. We do them together. But yeah, so the couple, when you have the one majority income or more of a traditional marriage, you're not asking like, "Oh, can I please have this?" You know?
The girls wanted to get ice cream.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
please.
Okay to buy some
honey.
ice cream, honey?
It's not like that at all.
Girl. You can't spend no $4 on ice cream.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. But we write our budget out every month. We both look at it. If it's a swipe that I'm like, "Ooh, I wasn't expecting that swipe," I can ask him. Or if he's a swipe that I made and he wasn't expecting that, we can ask each other about it. It's not a fight. It's not a, you know what I mean? So I think that was huge what he said. And the guy asked him, what was his name? Alan? Or was Anthony? Anthony asked the couple, he said, "So if you wanted a Gucci bag, could you just buy the Gucci bag?" And she was like, no, he asked the guy that. He was like, "Yeah, I could, but why would I? Like, that's not good leadership."
Yeah.
You know, and
like, if like you had bought like something like that price range unexpectedly, I'm like, "Yo, what you
it would
what you dropping $1,000 on?"
But it would throw you off because I don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not, and she said this too, which I love. They understand the vision.
Yeah.
The vision right now is not for me to be walking around with a Gucci bag. So if I'm swiping for, let's not talk Gucci because we ain't there yet. Lord willing, we will be. But let's talk Target, right? So
let's talk Target.
Even Target. If he sees a big swipe from Target, that is not the vision right now for me to just have an abundance of clothing available to me. So, but we don't have those arguments because I understand the vision. I understand the assignment. I understand. And you do too.
Yeah. It's not that I wouldn't want her.
Right.
But it's like, it's a time and a season.
Yeah. It's a time and a season. Yeah. And we understand where we are. Okay, so when Anthony brought up the boss chick thing, oh my gosh, I wish I knew her name, but the couple that's over the ministry, she went off. She said pretty much her argument was the whole boss chick, like women feeling like they got to be a boss chick, was birthed out of hurt from men in the past. Feeling like their grandma had to be a boss chick because she was single. Mama had to be a boss chick because she was raising kids single. And it just goes down from generation to generation. That was a tough one because even for me, just my giftings and the way I'm wired, and I feel like I'm fairly ambitious. And just laying that down, knowing that the Lord is asking me to, it looks different. I don't feel like I've just laid down every dream that I've ever had. You know, He's not holding me captive in the house, you know, telling me to sit down. But I love what she said because I've always felt that and never put it into words. And I want to speak to black women specifically. We have permission to desire to be with our family and to desire to support our man. Like, we have permission. We do not have to be superwoman and superman. We don't have to do that. And once I walked in that freedom, it was beautiful. And I want that freedom for other women and definitely for black women. Like, I don't feel less than because I don't have a corner office. Like, I feel like I just brought my genius home to my family.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And even we're raising girls right now, and I want them to have if anything ever happened to you, boss chick would activate immediately.
For sure.
Like,
for
my
sure.
kid's gonna eat, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
And I want that for my children. Like, I want him to have that option. So yes, I will tell my girls to go to college.
Yes, get educated.
Yeah.
Like, learn, acquire a skill.
Acquire skill.
Yes.
Have a way to make money.
Yes.
If they so need it. I also want to release him with the freedom of, if your husband wants to sit you up in a mansion, girl, receive your mansion.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? and do you. Like, you
I mean, as long as he treating you well, because, you know.
Oh, yeah, we don't worry about
Daddy
that.
will go to jail.
Well, don't go to jail. But.
For sure, though.
So I love that she went into that, and I want to release some of y'all. I want to release y'all from feeling like you got to be a boss chick to have worth and value. Like, I feel like and also the man, it's your job to also speak that worth and value. Meyer never makes me feel less than, like, ever. And I love that. Y'all just gonna have to take this video quality how it comes. I love that. And I love what he said. He was like, there's this myth that, you know, like, the woman is at home barefoot, pregnant, dumb as rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's home, but that's not the case. He was like, literally, my wife is smart. She has a master's degree. Like, he barely graduated and she has a master's degree.
I mean, it's very comparable.
We have a similar dynamic, but yeah, I don't feel less than. I don't feel like you're less than. I love supporting Meyer. It's a joy. Like, it really is. And I love that he lets me do me. And the beauty is, the Lord will take your vision, and as your heart becomes closer to him and his desires for your life, he'll end up giving you the desires of your heart that you didn't even know you had. And what you gave up will lead you to that, if that makes sense. So like, I gave up my job, and because of that, I had to volunteer more at the church. I had more time for that. And the Lord allowed me to be over our young adults ministry. And I love it. And so that came from, I feel like, me saying, Lord, here's what I have. And I trust you.
From that first step of faith. Leaving your well-paying salary position.
Where people thought we were crazy. And just being obedient. So, yeah. I want that for you guys. Another thing, getting back to the family business, building our wealth. Yeah. It's
a lot
huge.
in that statement.
It's a lot. That's a whole nother video. It's so much to unpack. But he did talk about the importance of, and we're not, you know, there's seasons for jobs. We're not bashing jobs. Yeah. But going back to, there's something about building something that you're going to be able to hand to your kids. There's something about making money that's yours.
That's yours.
And so we're going into a season where we're starting a business. And Meyer's having a career change and all those things. And I'm being in the trenches with him. You know what I mean? And he's doing the majority of it. But any way that I can support him, I'm going to. And I don't know. It just feels good knowing that this is for our family. It feels good. Yeah. Yeah. And so just that. And you can do that when mom is not out working for another man. Well, you can be more aligned. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all this other quote, and we'll respond to that, and then we'll end. But it says, "We're scared of going traditional because we've never seen it done before," and I would argue maybe never seen it done well. And that's really our heart behind this channel too, is just kind of showing, not that we're perfect, but we chose a different path that some people don't choose, and we wanted to share that with other people because I always openly talk about the fact that we have 2-parent home privilege, and that sets us up for so much success in life. And I want to acknowledge that. Like, and what I mean by that is, I come from a 2-parent home. Meyer comes from a 2-parent home. Never been divorced, nothing like that. And just that right there gives us an advantage at life. And so I want to acknowledge that. It doesn't mean that we haven't gone through trials, our parents haven't gone through trials, but that's an advantage. Like, even my daughter went to one of my closest friends' house, and my friend told me she recently went through a divorce, and my friend told me, hey, I just want to tell you that your daughter asked, where's my husband? And I told her, you know, he's not here. And she was like, but I think it's beautiful that her worldview is marriage. And I was like, wow, I never even thought about what a blessing that our girls, that's literally what they think home looks like. You know, like, that's huge. That's legacy right there. And so I say, yeah, I can understand being scared of it because you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it looks like to be vulnerable enough with a person to say, yeah, all my eggs are in your basket. And yeah, all your eggs are in my basket as far as the kids and stuff. But y'all, we don't have enough time in the day, but there's so much more peace in our marriage. Like, the sex is better. I'm not exhausted. Like, this is stuff that people aren't talking about. We've been able to achieve more financially with less.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy? God is so good.
Wild.
Making less than some of our friends and stuff. Ooh, focus. Okay. We've been able to achieve more because we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is. We're in alignment, and we're in alignment with God.
Alignment, like ideal-wise. Alignment, like in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
Because it's like some stuff you was like, hey, we don't hit these goals, you can't eat out.
Right.
So after the game, I'll make something to eat, you gonna have to eat and get home.
Yeah.
All right, bet.
And that's hard.
Or like, shoot. For years I drove a raggedy truck. Mm-hmm. Like no AC, no heat. I had no AC for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And some of y'all probably like, bro, you could have got it fixed for $300, $400. Yeah, but
it was the focus.
Yeah, it's the focus. And like, okay, yeah, I could have spent that money. I could have fixed it myself actually. But spending that $200-$300, that could have like knocked us off the path of our goals that we wanted to achieve like later on down the road. So me being uncomfortable driving the heat, it was well worth it.
Yep. One thing they talked about was the importance of the benefit of traditional marriage is that you're specializing. And so Meyer always says, like, you know the best practices at the house because I'm there most of the time. And so it is like I have a routine, I have a schedule, I run a tight ship, you know what I mean? And so yes. So Meyer, think of it this way: Meyer's the CEO of the home. I'm the manager of the home. I do the day-to-day duties, and I'm in the trenches with the people. But I love what they said. They said we have equal importance, different roles. So it's not like you're lording over me because you bring in the most income. Equal importance, different roles. Because what I love too is the lady on the video, she has a home. She got a maid. And she has a nanny. And I love that she can afford. We're not there. But I love that he acknowledges that being at home is more than a full-time job.
Yeah.
Which you acknowledge too, but we just ain't there.
Yeah.
And they acknowledge that he can't do what she does. Like, they talked about how men be like, I can hire a maid. My wife can go to work. I can hire this. And he's like, these dudes that saying this, no, you cannot hire a cook and a maid. You ain't got that kind of money.
Yeah.
It's expensive to put the price of a wife staying at home or majority of her time being spent at home. That's expensive. But, and I want to end, they talked about how, I'm bad at sports analogies, but I thought it was so deep, profound though. They talked about Jordan and, what's his name?
Scottie
Pippins. And they talked about how they had different roles, but equal importance.
Yeah.
And Meyer took it one step further, which I thought was beautiful. What'd you say? Like,
with Dennis Rodman?
No, not that. Even talking about Scottie Pippins, you talking about he didn't have a problem with being.
Yeah, he wasn't proud. He had a problem being like
the support,
like the Robin to Batman. But he just wanted to be acknowledged and
appreciated
that he had a significant role.
Yeah.
In those championships, in those productive seasons.
Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. I don't have a problem being in the background, even in the coaching world. I don't have a problem being in the stands with the kids. I don't need a whistle. I don't need a trophy. But just knowing that my husband appreciates me, that's a lot for me. And I think that's the same thing. So I know we just scraped the surface, but that video was so good, and y'all need to go watch it. And let me know. I want to know your thoughts. Do you have a traditional or a modern marriage? Why do you think? And what do we need to do as I will say Black community? What do we need to do in the Black community to get back to this more traditional, where there's bringing more balance to the home is what I want to say, because that's what it's about for me. I don't care what you do for a living, but bringing more balance, because you may be a nurse, and like I'm already thinking through this for my girls. They may be a nurse and they can work one day a week and contribute, but still be able to prioritize their family. So that's what it's about for me. But yeah, I just had to talk about this video. It was so good. I'm sure we forgot some things, but comment below. Let me know where do you fall on the scale that Meyer did. I love you guys.
Like my scale.
Yeah, 1 to 5. I would have did 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Just
but then that too, it's more difficult though. Keep it simple.
I guess. Okay. Love you guys. See y'all in the next video.
Peace.